So, I was on this journey for 4.5 years, and I met a very special patient of mine named Grant Cardone. Do you guys know Grant? Yeah, love him or hate him. I know half the people I meet are like, I can't stand that guy, and half of them are like, he's amazing. So I was, my fiance and I had our wellness practice, and we touched the life of a good friend of his, and then he was making a major investment in Grant's fund, and he said, Grant, before I put this money in, I want you to do this test by this human biologist in Naples, Florida, and I want you to do this blood test, and I want you to do this gene test where they swab your cheek, and he's going to figure out what's wrong with you. And Grant's like, there's nothing wrong with me. And he's like, well, if you want the money, you got to do the test. So he did the test. And at the time, I wasn't super familiar with who Grant was, but I was in my office, and he called the office, and I answered the phone. He's like, hey, Gary, this is Grant Cardone. I said, hey, Mr. Cardone. And he said, look, man, I don't even know who you are. I don't know what you do. But before you start, I should just tell you, I got doctors hanging on trees, and I got personal trainers coming out of my ass. Exact words. I don't like to cuss from the stage. And he said, I got personal trainers coming out of my ass. He said, I got 8 minutes, man. Why don't you just give me your spiel? And I was like, okay, well, aren't you rude? I didn't actually say that, but that is exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, you're a rude little thing, aren't you? And so I said, well, why don't we start by you telling me how you feel? He goes, I feel great. I'm running around the world. I'm building my empire. I feel great. And I said, well, do you mind if I tell you what I see in this test? And he said, no, go ahead. I said, well, Grant, I see a man that goes to bed exhausted, but his mind keeps him up until the wee hours of the morning, so that by the time you wake up in the morning, you're more exhausted than when you went to bed. I can see that you wake up sore and achy in the morning like you had a hard workout the night before when you haven't. And I bet it really bothers you that the soles of your feet and your ankles are sore when you get out of bed to walk to the bathroom and take your first piss in the morning. And he started to get quiet. And then I said, look, man, I don't know anything about your love life, but libido left the building about 9 months ago. That really got under his skin. And he got more quiet. I said, libido left the building about 9 months ago, and if I was to guess, the thing that bothers you most is brain fog. And he goes, what the hell do you mean, dementia? And I said, no, brain fog. You get a great idea in the bedroom. By the time you walk to the kitchen, you wonder what the heck you're doing in the kitchen. And then he got mad. And he said, who told you to say that? Did Elena tell you to say that? Did Jared tell you to say that? Who gave you that information? I said, no, nobody gave me that information. I'm looking at your gene test right here. And he goes, you can really tell all of that from that test? I said, I sure can. He goes, can you fix it? And I said, yeah. He goes, how long will it take? I said, a couple of weeks. He goes, okay, I'll do whatever you say, lotions, potions, creams, jellies, or injections. I rehearsed that because that's exactly what he said. Lotions, potions, creams, jellies, or injections. Like, we only have 2 of those, by the way. We don't have any lotions or any potions. I don't even think we have a cream, do we? But, or a jelly. Yeah, I didn't have half the stuff, he said. And he said, here's my credit card, man, just ship to my house. And he hung up the phone. And about 3.5 weeks went by, and then I started to realize who Grant Cardone was, and then I got another phone call back, and he calls the office. And so now I'm like super nervous, and I go back to my desk, and I don't know why I did this, but like it was a phone call, but I start neatening up my desk. And I think I like sat down and stood up and sat down and stood up like 3 times, and I go, what the hell am I doing? It's a phone call. So I went, boop, and I said, hello, and he said, hey, Gary, this is Grant Cardone. I said, hey, Mr. Cardone. He goes, what the hell do you have me on? And I was like, oh, God, it's over. Shut it down, shut the lights off, fire the staff. We're going to sell flowers or something. I never wanted to be in the wellness space anyway. And he goes, man, I feel great. He goes, I'm chasing Elena around like a high schooler. He goes, I got the energy of 10 men. The brain fog you talked about is gone. I don't have an ache or a pain in my body. And he said, Gary, I haven't slept in 10 years. I sleep 6 nights a week now, over 7 hours. Not a single pharmaceutical. Just the compounds that were missing in Grant Cardone's body. 4 years of treating Grant now. 2.5 years after that, he bought our wellness franchise and now has injected enough funds for us to spread 1,000 of these franchises around America. So soon there'll be 20 of these in every state. So thank you. Because the mission really is to change the face of humanity by getting this information out here.